Hi guys. So today we are gonna see about a very common and neglected topic, greenhouse effect. So even though like we have covered our greenhouse effect basic theories on school days, still we might be having some ambiguity how exactly does it happen. So I am gonna cover those things in this video. Before going into greenhouse effect, I have displayed two images here. So we can see like one is a white chalk and another is a black coal. So why do they appear black or white? What is the reason behind that? Let us take a plane surface. So for any radiation which falls on a surface, any of three phenomena happen. One is reflection, other is transmission, and third is absorption. For a white body, it reflects everything that falls on it. Not everything, mostly most of the part. So it appears white in color. And for black, it absorbs most of the radiation falling over it and it appears black. So keep this in mind. What is the reason behind this white and black color? That will be useful for seeing the further concepts. Now we can see from sun, radiation is reaching the earth's surface. Radiation is like one mode of heat transfer out of all those three, like conduction and convection. Radiation is one kind of that. For radiation heat transfer to occur, we don't need any medium for heat transfer. It can pass through vacuum also. Now you can see a layer of clouds over here, and clouds are white in color. So what we saw in the slide before, the white body mostly reflects everything that falls over it. So since clouds being white in color, they reflect most of the radiation falling over it. And the clouds which are in our stratosphere, those are not uniform throughout the space. They are scattered around, and we may be having like gaps here and there through which the radiation enters the surface. Even before clouds, we have another layer called ozone, which we are very well aware. Ozone is nothing but a product formed when UV combines with oxygen. We get ozone. The role of ozone is that it reflects UV rays falling over it. So that's why ozone layer is very important in preventing global warming, because these UV rays are like extremely harmful to us, right? So now we have seen a part of radiation has reached the Earth's surface and part of them have reflected. We'll move further. The radiation after reaching the Earth's surface, they hit the ocean surface and the land area. After getting heated, these bodies produce IR rays, infrared rays. These infrared rays try to get reflected from the Earth's surface and they try to escape into space through the atmosphere. But that is not so easy. You can see here the complete phenomena which has happened till now. The incoming solar radiation, that is from a very high temperature source, that is sun. Since the temperature is very high, they produce the radiation of very shorter wavelength, and if the temperature is smaller, they will be producing wavelength of shorter wavelength, radiation of shorter wavelength. See, like the radiation is entering the atmosphere. Since they are like smaller in wavelength, they are like entering into the atmosphere through ozone, through clouds. They have reached the land surface, and part of them have like already went back into the space because of reflection by clouds and ozone. After reaching the surface, the Earth's surface is getting heated, and even the ozone too, because of which infrared radiations are produced. Since the heating which is happening here is not as higher temperature comparing to that of the sun, the wavelength of the radiation produced is here is a long. So since the wavelength is long, it is not easy for the radiations to escape through. That I will be explaining in the later part. That is one reason they are longer wavelength. And the other reason being greenhouse gases which are present in the atmosphere. They will not allow the radiation to pass through easily, and those absorb the radiations falling over it. And that is the reason why the earth is getting warm. If not for these gases, the temperature of the earth will be minus 28 degrees Celsius to minus 18 degrees Celsius. because all the radiation which is falling over the earth's surface, they will be getting reflected back and no heat energy will be stored. So without heat energy being stored, we will not be having any form of support for our life sources. So greenhouse gases are bit necessary for maintaining the temperature and life on earth. These are the different greenhouse gases, almost 7, which are major among all other greenhouse gases, which we know totally. The first one is water vapor. How are these produced? We have seen that when the radiation falls over the land surface and the ocean surface, they heat the surface. When the ocean surface is heated, which is nothing but water vapors are produced. So this water vapor, which is in air, they have a very good capacity of absorbing heat that we call as latent heat capacity. So because of which the surface temperature of the atmosphere increases. Out of all the greenhouse gases, water vapor has a significant role in rising the temperature. And this can never be avoided since one third, not one third, almost like 3/4 of our earth is covered by oceans and seas. So therefore water vapor is like imminent. We can't be avoiding that. And global warming due to water vapor can't be avoided. So the only factors which we can avoid is the following things: carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, ozone, chlorofluorocarbons, and hydrofluorocarbons. And how are carbon dioxide produced? They're produced in all industrial processes which happens under normal breathing of humans. We emit carbon dioxide. So these contribute for carbon dioxide. That's why like we need more trees. Trees counteract those carbon dioxide emitted. They absorb the carbon dioxide emitted by us and they convert it into oxygen. So CO2 is taken by trees and plants, and what we get as final byproduct is oxygen, right? And the next thing is methane. Methane are present in a large quantity in soil. Soil acts as a sink for methane. Sink is nothing but when you add any item in a large quantity, they absorb it without changing their characteristics much. So soil is a very good sink for methane, and methane gets stored in soil for a long time. So when we do this agriculture, when we plow the land and lands are being cleared for flats and trees are being cut, this methane from the soil they get released into the atmosphere. Comparing to the carbon dioxide, methane's presence in atmosphere is like 10 times lesser. They won't be staying in atmosphere for a long time. They will again come back into the soil and they get mixed with the soil. So like that they will be like recycling again and again. So that is the source for methane. And for nitrous oxide, those are also emitted as a part of fuel combustion vehicles and in industries, and they also play a part in global warming. And ozone, we have already seen as the interaction between UV rays and oxygen, we form ozone. Ozone is partly doing good and partly doing bad. It's doing good when, let me explain. Let this be the ozone layer. And these are the infrared radiations trying to escape from the atmosphere. And these are the radiations trying to enter the atmosphere. So part of UV rays in the sun's radiation, they are reflected by the ozone. But the infrared rays, they are like unable to pass through this ozone. So ozone is doing a bit good by preventing us from UV rays and doing a part bad by not allowing IR rays to pass through, right? And chlorofluorocarbons and hydrofluorocarbons, they are basically from this air conditioning and refrigeration. So those play a major role in emitting these hydrofluorocarbons and hydrochlorofluorocarbons and chlorofluorocarbons into the atmosphere. You can see in this slide, in this year we are having concentration of CO2 like this, right? It is scattered through the atmosphere, and part of IR rays are like passing through the gaps which are through the atmosphere, and the IR rays are escaping through the space. And by end of the decade, what is happening is, just a second. By end of this decade, CO2's concentration has doubled. So you can see the part of IRS escaping our atmosphere has reduced, and all the IRS are like getting entrapped in our atmosphere, and the earth is getting heated more than it has to be. So by end of the century, the temperature can rise 3 to 4 degrees Celsius. It may seem a very less quantity, but like believe me, 3 to 4 degrees Celsius is a very huge rise, and that can result in melting of glaciers and like icebergs and all, snow mountains and all, and like sea water level will be rising. We know like a lot of islands which are just a bit above the mean sea level, like Maldives and all, they will be completely sink and they will be completely under our ocean bed. You can see the Venus over here. Even though this planet is placed second after Mercury in our solar system, this is the hottest planet in our solar system. The reason being their concentration of CO2 is higher compared to that of the Mercury, resulting in their surface temperature being 450 to 480 degrees Celsius average throughout the surface, comparing to that of the Mercury. Mercury's average surface temperature is 420 degrees Celsius. So CO2 is not a joke. Take another day-to-day example. It is not a greenhouse effect, but like it explains how radiation enter into atmosphere and how they are like not leaving the atmosphere. See here, a car is parked in a sunny day on an open space for 2 to 3 hours. Then you enter the car again after the parking is over. So after you enter inside, how will you feel? Like, will the temperature be normal or it will be hot? Yeah, obviously you'll be feeling like this. Apart from the seat surfaces being hot, you'll also be feeling the surface and ambience inside the car will be so hot. What is the reason behind that? You can see here. So this is the glass or window of a car, and this is sun. Sun being a higher temperature, it's emitting radius of shorter wavelength. The shorter wavelength are easily passing through the glass, and after reaching the inside surface of car, it reaches the seat, it hits you. After interaction and reactions, it produces infrared rays. The infrared rays are produced from a temperature of a smaller, from a source of smaller temperature. Since the source temperature is smaller, the wavelength of the radiation will be longer, and the longer wavelength are unable to pass through glass. And why is that? Let me explain that. Imagine this as microscopic structure of glass, right? And the glass molecules are placed like this. The radiation from the sun, since they are having a shorter wavelength, they easily pass through the glass like this, and they enter into the car. And the infrared rays, they are having a longer wavelength, right? So when they're passing through the glass, they get hit by a molecule or atom, and they're unable to pass through the glass completely. And that's why they get entrapped inside the car, and the internal energy and the internal temperature of the car keeps rising. That's the reason why the car gets heated when you are parking your car in open space, right? Yeah. So that's it for today's topic. I hope I have cleared the basic concepts of greenhouse and day-to-day significance in that. Thank you.